You better say your prayers, you flea-bitten varmint. I'm gonna blow you to smithereens.
You do that and I'll kill you.
Welcome to the show, Metalheads. This is the Bullshit with Bob show right here on Brutiful Metal Radio. And I have Jack and Scotty from Creepshow Mofo in the house via Skype. Welcome to the show, fellas.
What's up, guys?
Man, thank y'all for taking the time out and coming and talk to us.
Thanks for having us.
Now, give us a little background on Creepshow Mofo. How long have you guys been around?
I think it's okay. Well, we formed probably about 2 years ago in early spring, say February or March. Just as a, just four guys getting up, hanging out, having some beers and creating some jams, and we went to go check out the local music scene and kicked it off from there.
Right on, and that's how most bands start. You go and hang out in the scene and see what's out there, and it's like, oh man, we got to add something to this. Is that kind of how it was for you guys? Or y'all just wanted to go out there and tear it up, make some noise, and have some fun?
Yeah, pretty much all of the above right there. What we saw out here was the first show on the local scene that we went to as a band trying to break our way in was Prowler and Conception of Being. and they set it off, and we all became real good friends, and that's actually how we ended up with our first shows right here locally.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, y'all are from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Now, what kind of scene do you have there? Is there a lot of venues there, a lot of places to play? Is it a real metal-friendly area?
We do have one particular venue that we work with constantly called the Sound Hole. That is the most metal-friendly, so that's definitely where we choose to go and book and hang out all the time. They welcome us with open arms from day one, and that's been a solid thing for us this whole time. And yeah, it's metal friendly, man. There's a lot of people that come out to the shows pretty consistently. We've constantly got fresh blood coming through from all over the place, playing there. So the locals play with out of town bands constantly. It's pretty awesome.
Now, you said you get a lot of bands from out of state coming through there, or just like out of the area?
From the surrounding areas, out of state. We just had Dread come through from your neck of the woods.
Now, those guys are sick too.
Yeah, they put on a hell of a show for us, man. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, we get bands, Florida, New York. Yeah, New York. We end up with a lot of bands from New York, Virginia, North Carolina. Definitely got a constant flow of bands. The circuit has really just opened up for bands right here within South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. So it's pretty good.
Right on. That's kind of one of the things we're trying to help set up is a continuance of the circuit because we did the Brutiful Metalfest. We were talking about that right before we went live, and we had a lot of bands come from all over. Hell, like you said, we had them from upstate New York. As far as the other side of Texas, the west side of Texas, another Texas murder scene, I think they drove like 19 hours or something to get here. And
yeah, that's a pretty brutal drive right there. That's awesome they came out for it, though.
Oh, hell yeah. Those guys are hardcore. All the way around.
I've heard their jams. They are pretty sick. Our Myrtle Beach Metal Fest just started last September for the first time. We had 12 bands on it, all-day event, 2 stages, bands from Florida, North Carolina, everywhere, man. It was pretty great. It was a great first year. Great.
We were surprised too when we did ours that it wasn't like what you would say a financial booming success or anything, but we consider it a success because we didn't end up in the red. We broke even. All the bands had fun. They all came out, networked, and from what they've told us, they had a great time and they want to do it again. And what we're trying to do is set up routes from the New York area all the way across to Vegas, even SoCal, through the the Gulf region. That way, maybe it'll help out our economy down here, but it'll definitely spread more metal. This area, the whole Gulf area, the Deep South, really needs a shot in the arm of some good metal.
And it's funny, too, how metal scenes thrive and then kind of taper off a little bit, because when I played in the metal scene down in Florida, in the Panhandle, late 90s, early 2000s, it was thriving pretty good, man. There were, constantly bands coming through, and that was the circuit. It was New Orleans all the way down to Tampa and Orlando, and we just went all back and forth up the Gulf Coast. And it would be awesome if that would come back around again. So I'm hoping this cycle turns back into that.
Right. Now, it's odd that you mentioned Tampa, because I'll tell you, they still have a pretty thriving metal scene there.
Oh, yeah.
One of the bands that came here, I interviewed them, or it was a Monday, I believe. Yeah, I interviewed them on Monday, called Fathom. And they're from that area. And I've always seen they're playing, what?
They're always busy.
If not every weekend, at least every other weekend. They've always got a show going down there in that area.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, for the rest of us, that we have one good solid metal scene. New Orleans is trying to come back. Biloxi has a couple of good, friendly, places. I think Mobile has a couple.
Yeah.
Panama City, I know Death Before Dying is from Panama, and they have a show every so often. So maybe it'll open back up, and that'll have that avenue of approach all the way across.
Yeah, that'd be great for the music scene, man. I mean, there's so many awesome bands. You've got certain cities that just breed a specific type of, and I always talk about metal. That's just, my main interest. But New Orleans, I've always loved the sound that came out of there. And Orlando and Tampa, definitely. Even Atlanta in the last 15 years, maybe even 20 years, have really been just supplying us with these awesome metal bands constantly. And because of that, those areas continue to breed bands of that nature, and it keeps this whole area thriving. Right now, where I see the biggest boom is in Charlotte, man. These bands that are coming out of Charlotte are sick. They've got people coming to the shows. They're playing with everybody. So when we talk about cities that do great things for metal, the one closest to us right now is definitely Charlotte. With Spine Extraction, Dixie Death Wish, Skin Cage, just so many incredible bands coming out of that area. And they're coming out of Myrtle Beach, and it's helping inspire us, I guess is the right word. And then you have new bands that come out, they're like, hey, they're doing it out there, and that's what you have in Orlando. That's why they continue to have such an awesome metal scene, because death metal is pretty much born there. It just, supplies itself, replenishes all the time because of that. New Orleans is the same way with sludge and doom and the swamp metal sound.
Yeah, that groove thrash sound like Exhorder had.
Yeah.
I love me some Exhorder, man. That's my boys there.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
It kind of sucks too. Talk about Exhorder. I was supposed to interview Kyle, Kyle Thomas from Exhorder.
Yeah.
Last August, I sent him a request. I interviewed him back in 2007, and we've been acquaintances because back when I was, playing in a band actively, we would cross paths quite a bit. And but he told me, well, we're real busy. We're in the studio. Just hit me back up. I'm like, okay, man, that's cool. Just let me know whenever. And then I hit him up about 2 months later to see what's up with him, and he told me that Exhorder had split up again, which really bites because I was wanting to hear a third CD from those guys.
Yeah, how awesome would that be? So
I know,
they
right?
split up, like, during their studio sessions?
Well, the way Kyle explained it to me was he left all that behind when he walked away.
Gotcha.
So I wasn't going to press it,
Yeah.
And on top of that, Frankie Sparcello had died, the bass player. And I'm sure that was a pretty touchy scene with Kyle because they were really close. I mean, they grew up together.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it was a real touchy issue, man. You know, I think he's singing for Trouble now.
Trouble? I
Yep.
don't think I've heard them.
You never heard Trouble?
From the 80s?
No, I don't think so.
They were like from the late 80s into the 90s. They used to jam a lot with, they go on tour with Pantera quite a bit.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I've got any trouble in loaded up on the computer. If I do, man, I'll throw some up and let you check them out. They're badass.
Yeah.
They're that sludge, doom, you know, New Orleans sound. They're really cool. And those, they love getting blasted on stage. I'll put it that way.
That's metal right there.
That is, man.
We've got a band around here. Foxfest is coming up tomorrow and Saturday, and you talk about underground bands that just should not be underground bands because they're so badass. Black Hand Throne is coming through Saturday, and they are just incredible, man. They're so awesome, and they're one of these bands that is, you know, it's that particular sludge, you know, doom groove metal type thing where they just don't end up with the recognition that they deserve. But they're playing around here, and they're just killing it every time. Badass. Just really happy to have them come out. But they're one of those bands that just probably will not ever end up with the recognition that they deserve. And, you know, you'll always be able to see them at these small venues and be front and center and just witness them kicking ass.
And, you know, on a lot of these bands, too, I mean, like Texas Hippie Coalition, you know, they should be signed huge, but they love playing the clubs. They love being underground. And I respect that because, you know, I've always been about the underground. I've always been a voice for the underground. I love the bigs, but the real music, you know, that I always love is usually in the underground, you know, because people are starving. You don't have producers up your ass trying to tell you, oh, we'll change that F note to an E note or, you know, whatever. I'll change the tempo on that song. You don't have anybody really giving you the direction, so you get the full heart of what the artist meant for you to hear.
That's right. That's right. It's almost all I listen to anymore is just underground bands that we, you know, meet through stations like yours here, you know, and we're just playing shows at these small venues. It's pretty much all I listen to. And it doesn't, I don't want that to take away from my favorite bands, you know, but I still do jam out, you know, the bands that made it. But these underground bands are so sick and they've got so much to offer. And there's always something new that I'm finding out about. And for a long time, I was just like stuck listening to the same bands I've been listening to since, you know, 1993.
Right.
And this new emergence of underground metal via internet radio stations, you know, spreading the word. Their exposure to people that want to find it is available, and it's awesome, and it's all thanks to you guys.
And, you know, that's what we're about, man. We're trying to, you know, continue carrying the torch, carry the battle flag for metal, and bring it to hopefully new listeners and people that are, you know, maybe just getting into metal and not too sure about it, or young crowds, and we open their mind up like, bam, you know, okay, you've listened to Lamb of God, you've listened to Five Finger Death Punch, well, check out Death Before Dying, or check out, you know, Blood Lubricant, Netherion from Syria, you know, I mean, and, you know, a lot of the response we get is really positive. You know, people are like, holy fuck, man, what is this? You know?
Yeah.
And they end up listening to more and more and more, and, you know, that's what it's all about. Just spreading that word, spreading the disease, and keeping metal alive.
That's right, man. That's right. That's and there's so many new bands out there to get turned on to that are very much influenced by your favorite bands that you've heard of. You know, to stumble across an underground band that, and for me, what I find cool about it is I find this incredible metal, and I get turned on to it, and then I can go to their page, and they're accessible. You can contact them. you can book them for your friends, for and that's awesome to have these bands of such a caliber, and you don't have to deal with the red tape of going through their label. You can book directly with them, and it's affordable, and they'll come out and rock it for you, anywhere.
Exactly, and that's what, when we did our festival, we were so surprised, because we thought maybe we would do just, when it started off, we were going to do maybe a one day. And then all these bands came at us. It was like, wow, holy shit. All of a sudden, we went to 3 days, and we had some quality underground bands. Necrotic Priapism on Saturday night, they were the headline act. They closed the show, and they tore the roof off the place.
Yeah.
Not to mention Aborning, The Hackish. I could go on, We had, 17 bands there. And every one of them threw down.
That's what's great about these underground shows, man. You get these bands that come out and they're not playing, 6 nights a week. And so when they show up to just rock your world. The Myrtle Beach Metalfest that just passed, we had some pretty great bands from all over the place on that. And we had so much success with booking the bands that we wanted to book. This next year, it's going to be we got to do a 2-day event. It's going to be a Friday and Saturday. There's just that much demand for it, and demand in a time that I wasn't sure was going to be there. It started as just hey, it's not happening around here. There's no Metal Fest. Why not? And then we did it, and then bands were like, yeah, we definitely want to play, definitely, and that's awesome. The demand and accessibility of these bands to come do it is there, and it makes for successful shows.
Now, another thing we were talking about with underground bands, actually a point I want to make about it, the underground scene will never be stagnant, because most of these bands and scenes, they're all friends, at some form or fashion, and there's always that level of friendly competition.
Yeah.
Trying to outdo each other. Oh, well, you made that riff last time. Well, listen to this solo this time. Okay, well, we're going to get more theatrical this time. And it builds and builds. And that really creates an awesome, awesome dynamic within a scene.
It does. Absolutely. I don't think that we would have the ambition that we have to push towards something new or heavier or more original every time if we weren't surrounded by bands that were just kicking ass. One band that I think for us pushes us to that level, 2 bands. I think Conception of Being does it for us here, and another band called Nothing. All really good friends of ours, always at each other's shows, and it's that, camaraderie that makes us like, yeah, let's do another show. Let's make it better this time. Let's, your last song was sick. Our next song is going to have to be way sick.
Right?
That's the way it is. But it's amongst friends, and it's a friendly competition, and it's badass.
And we always
get over here where people can hear you.
We always root for our friends to make it bigger and badder.
That's right.
You have to believe, man.
Well, not only is it friendly competition, but you kind of, in a friendly way, pushing each other, Well, I'm going to create this bad shit. You better create something better than this so I can create something better than that.
Right.
And, that's the mentality of it. And it's a beautiful thing when it's happening.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
One thing that I enjoy about it the most, and Creepshow's definitely had a couple of these nights where one too many beers, got up there and did not perform the best.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of those. But it's our friends that were there playing with us like, man, when you guys are on, you're on. You guys are drunk, you're fucking drunk. And and it's your friends that call you on that. If you talk to people that saw the show, they may or may not have even caught how badly you performed, but your friends will call you on that. And
right.
It's in your brain whether you want to or not, and you do better next time. And that's another part of that friendly competition.
Yep. Now, I I wanted to ask you, how did the name Creepshow Mofo come about?
Well, here's how I say it. I mean, Scotty is the creep show. I'm the mofo. It it actually came away kind of like a joke manner, our stage performance and Scotty's demeanor is sometimes really creepy. So we came up with the name so that when people were saying who they were going to see, they could be like, "Oh, we're going to see the Creep Show, motherfucker," and they got the, you can call your friends motherfucker and not really be doing that. And I don't know, it's just a fun way to spread the word. You get a name that's got some excitement behind it.
Right.
Anytime you add motherfucker to the name, it adds a little bit of excitement to it. So yeah, it was kind of like a joke. But also, when you're trying to figure out band names these days, it is damn near impossible to find one that's not taken. We found out afterwards that there actually was a band called Creepshow. But it's not us. We're the Creepshow, motherfucker.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I go, or when I was, actively playing, we'd make up a name and I'd go look at like the metal archives and go research it, Google it or something, and be like, "Shit, man, somebody had this back in '72 or something." It's like, and they recorded under it.
And the internet makes it impossible for people not to know that too. I mean, you gotta love Google. That's the best way to find a name these days. You can think of 15 and go Google them, and 14 of them, are taken. But it's a way to push for originality because you can't pull it off anymore. If there's another band that's been around forever, they're right there. You can Google it and find it and be aware that you are not quite original enough with your band name.
Forces you to be creative.
Oh yeah, you have to be creative with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, when I got out the Army late in '01, and old friend of mine from high school wanted me to join a band. It was a cover band just for fun. And I'm like, okay, I'm not jamming with anybody. Fuck, let's do it. I'm like, what's the name of the band? High Voltage. Now, how many bands do you think have that name?
I would assume there's a couple, man. You tell me. How many bands have that name?
Well, we jammed for about a year, and I told him, I'm not really big into playing covers. I like doing one or two, but I'm always like, I love to write my own shit. And told him, I want to start doing originals. We can't do it under High Voltage because I'm sure there's a million people with this name.
Yeah.
And the guy was sitting there arguing. And so I went online, I looked it up. I found 17 bands.
Oh, my God.
And I printed them all out and gave them to him. I'm like, all right, bro, well, you can have your name. I'm out. And that's when I started up Gutter Sludge.
Gutter Sludge. I like that a lot.
I'll play you some of our tunes in a little while, man. We've got that New Orleans sludgy grunge sound. You'll probably dig us.
That's what I push for all the time. Scotty is more of a what's your preference?
I'm more Marilyn Manson, Cold Chamber.
Oh, right on.
Early 90s new metal.
But also trying to get Scotty to play slow sometimes is like that Death Clock episode where, they're trying to play the blues and you got like bricks hanging off his arm so you can slow it down something. That's Scotty right there all day long. It's like, come on, let's sludge it down a little bit. I can't not play fast.
The whole time you're saying that, the wife's over here pointing her finger at me.
I always tell you, slow down some.
Slow it down. Now, Scotty, he's pulled off some incredibly Southern style sounding just groove riffs that are badass, and I was impressed because a lot of what he does, when he first sits down, it's just like you could hear blast beats going for days with it. But when you listen to the Creepshow stuff, it's you may hear portions of that throughout it, but Scotty does a real good job of grooving it down, and so it's more, I think that's a sound that we developed together. I definitely prefer the more sludgy, groovy Southern style, but Scotty has his own style, so when you mix that, I think we end up with some original, music, and I'm happy with it. But it takes that diversity to pull it off,
And I love that you used the term diversity, because that was our motto in Gutter Sludge. Because we had like a 5 members that all liked different shit, and our motto was always strength through diversity. And it was wild because we're sitting here. I got one guy. I don't know if you familiar with Suture, death metal act. One of the guitar players. I've been knowing this guy for years, even before he joined up with Suture. But he's one of the original members of them. So I got a death metal guy, extreme death metal guy. Then I got me. I love playing like thrash and just all kind of groove and stuff like that. Our bass player was a slap pop bass player.
Now that's badass. That's awesome.
The drummer we had was he was really into rap, but the dude could wail some on his feet, man. I mean, he could do some double bass. And our singer was really into Meshuggah.
Nice.
So we always called it like heavy metal gumbo. Yeah, just throw a little bit of everything up in there. Now, that's something I'm finding too. I wanted to get your take on this. Today's metal, especially a lot of the underground bands, I'm finding they're pulling a little bit of this sound and a little bit of that sound, and they're unifying metal away from the subgenres. Like if you listen to Black Sabbath or Zeppelin or some of these bands, the forefathers, if you will, of metal. Yeah. One song may sound like a glam song, one song may sound like a doom, another song may sound kind of thrashy, and that's where all your subgenres came from. Was some people latched onto this one tune or that other tune, and throughout the 90s everything's subgenred, and now I find it's starting to come back into metal, just one genre. Are you finding the same thing?
I do see and I guess the genre, the subgenre of metal that I see more often these days is a mixture of death metal and not as much groove, but like deathcore is the next one with the breakdowns, and you hear a lot of bands that just have these brutal technical riffs with these breakdowns, and it makes for definitely a brutal style. I think Whitechapel probably does it best in my opinion, but that's what I see the most of. That's the genre that I see most. It's definitely not what we do, but so many of the people that we play with do lean that direction.
What I see a lot going on in today's metal is I see a lot of bands that you can listen to them and be listening to one track on their album and then walk away for 5 minutes and come back to a different track, and it still sounds like the same track.
They do have a pretty solid genre that they stick with, which, in a lot of cases is good because you get a good feel for what the bands are about. That's what they do, that's what they do well, and that's what they do all the time. But you don't end up with a lot of tracks here and there that are different from each other.
Right. You gotta have, you gotta maintain your core sound, what your band is, but you gotta not be afraid to maybe experiment a little bit and think outside the box somewhat and give each song a different flavor.
Well, and I know I just mentioned Whitechapel, but I'm going to mention them again right now because a couple of their members were here in Myrtle Beach yesterday. And when you listen to the records, they have that same one genre throughout the record, I think. But they came here to see some friends of theirs at a haunted house that we got going on right now.
Oh, wow.
And there's a we got haunted houses going all over the place, for the Halloween season.
Right.
But two of the members, and I don't know which ones they were, but they came down, and obviously they didn't have the whole band, but they got up in front of this haunted house and, played an acoustic set, which is awesome because it does show that they're like, well, yeah, obviously we can't perform in Whitechapel with just 2 members, but we're still going to play for you guys, and guess what? It's going to be acoustic. And that shows diversity from the jump to the writing process. They may not do that as a band, but it's there, and it's in the background, and it's obviously something that, is brought up throughout their writing process. So even though these bands might not have this huge diversity throughout their record, they do have the diversity amongst each other, and they do have these other genres that they're willing to go into.
Right.
And I thought it was really cool that they were like, yeah, man, I mean, we're just here to bullshit for a minute, but yeah, we're going to do an acoustic set. That's cool, man.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man.
Oh, yeah.
Now, like you said, you guys are a 2-piece, and we've had 2 of the bands that came to our festival, the Aborning from out of Georgia and the Hackish from out of Florida. Both of them were 3-piece acts that utilized a, let's see, the Aborning had 2 guitar players and a vocalist, no bass player, no drummer, but they programmed the computer, with a drum machine and all their tracks and their sound bites and everything. And if you were listening, you could not tell. And those guys absolutely threw down. Same thing with the Hackish. I mean, they're a full band, but they have no drummer.
Gotcha.
And same thing, they got up there, and on top of that, they're female fronted. If you ever get a chance, check out the Hackish.
Okay.
But yeah, they got up there, and I'm telling you, they threw the fuck down, man. And with technology these days, a lot of guys will grow up in maybe a more rural setting, a smaller town, and don't have access to a whole bunch of musicians. With technology the way it is now, you can still create a band and go out and jam, play shows and make music, record the whole 9 yards, as a full band. I think that is just awesome.
That is awesome. We had a band come through just the other day called Indian from North Carolina, and I'm not sure exactly where in North Carolina they're from, but they were a 3-piece, and they had their drums programmed more along the lines of black metal, which Scotty and I both love, and they threw down, and you never know. I mean, yeah, they could be better with a live drummer. I think their recordings sound perfect, but I think that definitely the live drummer adds something to your stage show. Now we're a 4-piece band.
Oh, okay.
It's just the 2 of us here tonight, and we struggle with we've had some drummer issues, so we've got a new drummer we're jamming with now, and we've got a pretty solid bassist that plays with us, but he's not the original bassist, and I don't know if it's because we're assholes and we just can't keep people in the band, or if they're assholes they just don't want to stick around. But, we are a 4-piece, and when we perform as a 4-piece. But you're right. I mean, you've got these bands that are just full of this original writing process, and they're like, well, we'll just do it all ourselves, and they pull it off, and it's badass.
Now, talking about tunes, I do have 2 by you guys. I have Broken Man and God Fucked.
That's right.
And I'm going to go ahead and pop them up now. We'll take us a little break. We'll listen to those, and we'll come back and do some more bullshitting.
Cool, man.
Because we have a lot more to bullshit about.
That's right.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in out there. This is the Bullshit with Bob show right here on Brutiful Metal Radio. And you're about to get the taste of what Creepshow Mofo is all about. Enjoy your eargasm, bitches. Alrighty, welcome back, metalheads. You just listened to the Creepshow Mofo, Broken Man, and Creepshow Mofo, God Fucked.
Right on.
And we're right back with Scotty and Jack from Creepshow Mofo. What's happening, fellas?
Hey.
Now, we were just discussing about Pantera.
That's good.
And, Jack was telling me that Scotty's a big fan of the first 3 albums that came out prior to Cowboys from Hell. And I really wasn't aware of them until I heard Cowboys from Hell. I didn't even know they had 3 albums prior. And
Actually, they got 4 albums prior to Cowboys.
oh, really?
Damn it, Scotty. Leave those alone. They don't exist. You can't tell me it's real. It's not real.
It's not real if you don't acknowledge it.
And I do not. I do not.
But Jack, you were saying that you first heard them from Vulgar on up, and that's what you consider Pantera.
That's what I mean, that was the first Pantera that I heard, and it really was just everything that I needed to hear at that moment. Years and full of angst and pissed off, and and it was just exactly what I was looking for. And so from then on out, I was just blown away. They just constantly put out stuff that I was like, right on, it's badass.
And I'll tell you, to this day, the best concert I've ever seen live, ever, was Pantera, Far Beyond Driven.
And
that was the baddest show I've ever witnessed. It was the loudest show I've ever been to. And the really cool thing was they had Sepultura opening up for them on Chaos AD. For that album. Oh yeah, it was a throwdown, dude. The pit was most gnarly. But it was, I don't know, everything about that show, there was no issues, musically, technically, anything. The best light show I've ever seen. And, I mean, oh my God, they just threw down.
I never got a chance to see Pantera. And that will always be a huge regret of mine. And I didn't really have the opportunity either. I went to middle school and part of high school in Saudi Arabia, actually.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I was the most into Pantera. And I didn't come back until 98. And so I had missed their main touring years at that point. And so I just never got the opportunity to go see them.
Well, with December 8th coming up in tribute to Dimebag, we will be performing a short tribute to the great works of the late Dimebag Darrell.
That's right. We're going to be playing at the Foxmas Ball December 8th, and we're going to do our very best to pull off some Pantera.
That is awesome, guys. That is awesome.
We've never actually done it before because Scotty's always like, I don't want to butcher it. Because you can really play like Dime. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it in his honor, whether it's horrible or not. We're doing it.
All you got to do is drink some Black Tooth Grins beforehand, and then you're all set.
That's it.
Pantera and Heart, Black Tooth Grin.
Now, I don't know if you guys heard this or not. There's been talk. I've been seeing a lot of stuff coming, from Vinnie Paul talking about maybe a reunion kind of a thing, but they're going to have Zakk Wylde possibly, play with them, with the original lineup.
Nobody else, I don't think, could do it, really. Zakk Wylde, if they're going to do it, that would be probably the only, that's one thing that drives me crazy when bands lose such a substantial member, and Alice in Chains is another one that obviously lost Lane and came back and did their best to pull it off. I was offended by that they even attempted that with a different singer. But if Pantera is going to come back and do it, I would not be offended at all if it was Zakk Wylde. I think that would be great.
In my opinion, I think that would be the only way they could do it because Zakk and Dimebag were such close friends.
Yeah.
Zakk will go out there, and he is going to go out there and honor his friend.
That's right, and not as any kind of replacement, in strict honor, and that's the only way to do it.
He did the same thing with Ozzy whenever he would play Randy's stuff.
Yeah.
He never went on a tangent, never really, Zacked it out or anything, but he would bestow honor upon it and play it, the way Randy would. And I really respect that. I really, really respect that.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely respectful.
I tell you,
the only way to do it.
if those guys do go on tour with Zach, my ass will be there to see it. There's no two ways about it.
Will definitely be there. Absolutely.
Now, you said you got some upcoming shows here in the near future with the Mofo booking.
Yep, we do. We've got shows booked from now through to next October.
Wow.
And Creepshow will be on some of those. But a lot of times we just book for bands that we know and love around the area. Creepshow will be doing December 8th. But we've got a lot of stuff going on, man. We've got a lot of stuff. We've got February 2nd is the GMA event, the Georgia Metal Alliance. We've got bands that are affiliated with the GMA playing it. We've got bands that are not affiliated. We're hoping that people come out from surrounding states, that are with GMA. But it's not strictly a GMA event. Creepshow is not playing in this one. Mofo Metal, we're just hosting it at the Sound Hole. But it's going to be pretty awesome. What else we got? December 22nd. As a matter of fact, the band I was talking about, Black Hand Throne, they're not playing that, but some members of that band are in another band called Tides of Sobek. And they're just getting started out. They're awesome, incredible. So we're pretty stoked about that. One thing we did just the other day was something called the Brutal Beach Invasion. And the reason it was called the Invasion, it was all bands that had never played Myrtle Beach before. We're going to do a round 2 of that March 9th. We've got a huge event April 20th. It's the 420 event, but it's the metal edition. So strictly metal bands rocking that out.
Right on.
It's going to be awesome. We've got also on April 13th, the Carolina Zombie Walk. We're going to have a Mofo Metal booking stage, strictly metal, for the first time. The Zombie Walk is usually pretty diverse, and it will be this year too. But it's going to have multiple stages, and we're gonna have one of the stages, and we're going to make it heavy, man, heavy.
That is awesome. Now, like I was telling you, my car's broke right now. When I get it fixed, we will be down there in force.
Yeah.
I do want to come to some of those shows.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we've got shows going on forever. There's another thing we do called the Barbecue of Brutality, and it's just exactly what that is. It's brutal bands and barbecue.
Hey, nothing wrong with a metal feast, right?
Oh, yeah, and it's badass, dude. This will be the 3rd time we've done this. It'll be May 10th, 2013, and I'm going to start booking for that here pretty soon, and it's going to be awesome. It's actually Robert Rowell, one of the owners for Sound Hole. It's his birthday celebration, too, so it's going to be huge. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be barbecue. It's going to be birthday parties, booze, badass.
The 5 Bs. Now, you had mentioned the GMA, the Georgia Metal Alliance.
Yes, sir.
And this is a metal club that's made up of various members, and basically it's about unity and promoting metal.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Made up by metalheads. And what's great about the GMA is it's not just a supporter. It doesn't just promote the GMA, but the purpose of the GMA is to promote metal. So you have dedicated metalheads that are, within the GMA family, and it's not really about the Georgia Metal Alliance at all. It's just this group of people that are dedicated, that come together and push it for the cause of metal, underground metal, all metal. And it's just a huge family that comes together for that purpose. And I'm excited about it. I love my membership with the GMA for sure.
Myself, Buffy, and Vix, all 3 of us are prospecting, and we are so proud to be part of an organization like the GMA.
We are glad to have you. I want to say congratulations to all three of you guys for jumping on board with this because you guys are a huge, huge asset. It's already what you do. This additional level of dedication is very much appreciated, and we're stoked to have you guys on board.
Man, we really appreciate hearing that very much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man.
Now, for those out there that are interested in finding out more information about the GMA, the website is georgiametalalliance.com, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So I'm sure I can get Deanna in the chat room throwing some links up.
Watch. Right click right here.
Oh, look at you, smarty pants.
Technology and whatnot.
Yeah, me and Buttons don't get along too well.
Me neither.
Unless
as a matter of fact, when I was trying to send you a message earlier, I'm 31, you're 25. Mm-hmm. He was, man, you should type faster. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, unless it's the TV remote, and I usually try to leave it alone.
I can dominate a TV remote now. Let me tell you, I will TiVo the shit out of something and rock that. But you know what I mean? That's the extent of my expertise, technology.
Now, I wanted to take everything from a Southern boy standpoint.
All right.
What kind of hobbies do you have or interest outside of metal?
We like guns.
Guns are good. I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment myself.
We do enjoy some guns at some of the first band practices, and now we're not great shots. We're not. One of the first things we did as a band was go in the backyard of their jam studio, and I know Seth Greason is listening. So one of the first things we did, he's our previous drummer. We were jamming at his house, drunk as a skunk, just writing metal. And we went outside because it was just a great idea to go shoot some guns in the middle of practice. And we did that. And luckily nobody was injured. But, yeah, we did that. We shot at the hill. I'm not sure I even hit the hill. I got where that bullet is. But, yeah, we did not do great, but we did enjoy it thoroughly. Swamps, love swamps. We'll take some field trips out to the swamp every now and again just for some inspiration. That's a little inspiration. A little inspiration every now and again. It's good, man. We're from the South. We indulge.
I heard that. Now, you guys fish or hunt or anything like that?
I do fish. My family is from Georgia. Not great at fishing either. It's just something that's in my blood, so it's like necessary to go do. Don't necessarily enjoy touching fish or necessarily the smell of fish, but it's embedded in my bones. So yes, I do fish. I'll go out to my family in Georgia's got a pond, with a little farm area. And we'll go out there and catch nothing but spend all day doing it and drinking, and, that's how you do it, right? You go out and you try and fish, but you get drunk.
Well, sometimes the best thing to catch is a buzz.
Well, I can catch a buzz fishing for damn sure. I can do that. I can't say I've ever once in my life been fishing. Never. Never. Oh, my God. I'm learning new stuff about Scotty right now.
See, I'm asking the right questions, ain't I?
Look at there. That's right. My whole family hunts. I do not hunt, and not really because I'm opposed to it, just because I just don't go do it. This hunting is certainly something that all my family in Georgia does and does well, and borderline professionally. I just don't. But I would. I think I just spend a general amount of my free time trying to get drunk and laid.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's funny.
Now, what kind of guns do you guys have?
I do not own a gun. The last gun I had was a cheapo high point 9mm, and the gun that we were firing off before, what was that? Was a
380 automatic.
380
semi-auto. 380.
Yeah.
Also have a Taurus 38 Special. I'm a big fan of revolvers and handguns.
Right on. Yeah, we've in our household here, I've got a Smith & Wesson 40, and the one I have it's a Sigma series. It's the one that they got sued over because they stole the design from Glock.
Nice.
So it's like the dummy down Glock, you know, but it's a sweet weapon. You know, I love a 40 cal because it's in between a 9 and a 45.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of knockdown power, and if any idiot ever makes a mistake of coming through my door, if the dogs haven't eaten their ass yet, they're damn sure going to leave here with some leaks from me.
Oh, there you go.
Now, Buffy, on the other hand, she loves hand cannons.
Nice.
I bought her a Taurus Judge.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, shoots 45 long and 410. It's up close and personal.
Oh, yeah.
And I own, well, of course, I got a little, 22 automatic or semi-automatic rifle that I just love to go and plink with. I'll go and just shoot whatever. But the main hey, if it moves, I'm gonna hit it. Now the main weapon I got here, I've got a Yugoslavian AK-47 underfolder.
Wow.
Love it, and that's what I plan on going and pop me a couple deer with this year.
Hey, how can you not love the AK-47? Last time I shot, as a matter of fact, the only time I shot an AK-47, way too inebriated for that to even be happening, but we did it. We all survived. It was a good time, man. It was a good time. That was in Georgia, actually, at a friend of mine. He had some serious property out there. And we would just go out with his arsenal and play with guns and drink extensively. Yeah.
I tell you, there's nothing like the smell of gunpowder.
That's true.
It's I don't know if you guys are like into drag racing or NASCAR or anything like that, but I liken it to if you ever go to a drag race, of course cars take off at the start line. They pass you up. You smell the rubber. Then you smell that top fuel, that alcohol that comes out of the car, and that draws you back to go to more racing events. Same thing, the gunpowder. You go out and you shoot, go through a few clips, and that gunpowder smell keeps you want to go and shoot more.
It's true. It's weird how that that certain sense of smell has an impact on your brain, and that's what you attribute to it. But you're right on. That's exactly that's how it works. When you're sitting around thinking about it, man, I need to go do that. That's one of the things that runs through your head. That the smell of it, and it brings back, it triggers the memories.
Right.
And that's, you're right on.
Now, Jack, let me ask you, what were some of your influences growing up? What brought you into metal? What made you, want to just jump in and have a band?
My sister is 8 years older than I am, and she dated musicians all through high school. So I would constantly get, turned on. Nine Inch Nails is one of the first bands that she turned me on to, and Tool. And then through, matter of fact, her boyfriend played with Brian Marshall from Creed all through high school.
Oh, wow.
So, there was always live music, and the few times that my sister would, stoop down and actually bring me out with her to go watch some stuff, it was live music, it was rock. At that time, it was a little more grungy. But just that, just hanging out and the inspiration, original, flow of inspiration coming out through a group of people really made me want to pursue that.
Right.
And so, some of the bands that I got turned on to first were Nine Inch Nails and Nirvana. I don't like a lot of Nirvana, but I really, Bleach was an album that just totally turned me on to, you know, something heavy that sounded different from other stuff. I think Bleach had that. Alice in Chains, you know, Stone Temple Pilots. So a lot of the early stuff, but that led to heavier stuff like Sepultura and Pantera, and you know, I think Alice in Chains did that for me more than some of the other bands. But yeah, it turned me on to this heavier, and it just, the more extreme things that I heard, the more abstract it was, different from just the constant barrage of the same stuff on the radio all the time. It was the new stuff that was just original that turned me on to heavy music in the first place, and that's what continues to turn me on to heavy music. You know, the originality, the totally different from mainstream is what makes me inspired to do the same thing to the best of my ability.
Scotty, how about yourself?
Well, growing up as a kid, I had a very unusual taste in music, I guess. I listened to a lot of the Les Paul and Chet Atkins.
Oh, wow.
All the old classic guitar virtuosos, and that kind of, I guess, got me into music, so to say. And then I started listening to Black Sabbath and got into that's when I started learning how to play guitar. I was trying to follow along with Tony Iommi to the Paranoid album.
He has that effect on people.
Yeah, it does, and it's a great album to really, for starter guitarists, to learn a lot of techniques to. And then from then on, I grew into Marilyn Manson, and when I discovered Marilyn Manson in 1994, that totally made me want to be in a band. I think that was the moment when I decided that that's what I wanted to do with my life.
Now, you know, in my little musical growth, I was very fortunate. I got to see Kiss in '78. I was like 9 years old, and my best friend's older sister was babysitting us, and her and her boyfriend, of course, you know, she's quite a few years older than we are, and she was dating a guy that was older than her. They had won tickets to go see Kiss live in Biloxi. Well, they were stuck babysitting us, so they bought us tickets, and we got to go see Kiss. I mean, let me tell you, I didn't know anything rock music even existed, because my parents always had country music playing. Then all of a sudden I'm looking at Kiss, full makeup, full show. I was about shitting my pants.
I think the imagery of that, like, I'm not a huge Kiss fan, but I do recognize the impact. Absolutely. That imagery goes back to the same thing that Scotty was talking about with Manson, I think. That imagery just turns you onto it, that expression, you know, because they seriously look like what they're trying to put out. You know what I mean?
Right. You know, and as a 9-year-old kid, your mind has a lot to try to soak in about what the hell is all this, you know?
You are very receptive, absolutely, yeah.
But, you know, I had an older cousin that was really into Kiss, and, you know, I told him about going to see the show, and he turned me on to a bunch of tapes, and then I found Black Sabbath, you know, and that's when I decided I wanted to pick up guitar myself and start learning to play. And then, of course, that led into heavier and heavier stuff. I found Metallica when they first came out with Kill 'Em All, and, you know, Iron Maiden, and these were like the big bands that, you know, really had a developing aspect on me as a metalhead and as a musician.
I actually got turned on to Black Sabbath when I was in Saudi Arabia. The guitarist that I had playing with me at that time, and I was trying to do some vocals, but mainly learning how to play guitar and play bass. My guitarist at that time, he was he was like 12, you know, I may have been 14, and he would just constantly be like, dude, you gotta listen to Black Sabbath, you gotta hear it, you gotta check it out. And he played it all the time, and that was some of the first stuff that we messed with as, you know, little kids trying to be a band. That and Nirvana, you know, that's what I learned to play. I was like, all right, you know, I can play this. But that's how I got turned on to Black Sabbath, it did have a huge impact. My son loved Black Sabbath. You know, it's weird because he's actually into a lot more of the 80s metal, you know, and older stuff than I am.
Wow.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I got to give respect to the little man. He loves it. We just went down to Orlando to the horror nights that they have at Universal Studios, and one of the things he had to go do was the Alice Cooper haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that he wanted to buy down there was an Alice Cooper shirt that had the haunted house imagery on it. And I gotta say, I was proud. I was a proud father at that moment.
Oh, hell yeah, that would make me a proud papa too, bro. I tell you that.
Yeah.
My kid's sporting some Alice. That is awesome.
That's right. My daughter, she's a year younger. She got one of the Walking Dead ones. And they both wore them to school the other day because they were just so stoked to have these zombies and just evil stuff all over their shirts. Got to wear them to school, and they were all about it. They loved it.
No notes home from the teacher, right?
Nope. It actually was all good. I was surprised. I was waiting for it.
Well, let's go ahead and take us another break. I've got a couple of our Gutter Sludge tracks I'm gonna put up.
Ooh.
I've also got are you into acid bath?
Oh man, the dog I just stole from Scotty yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And I shit you not, I did. You know, my fiance and I went over there and stole this dog from Scotty. His name, we instantly changed his name to Dax. Love some acid bath. Both of us love acid bath. Huge acid bath fans. Love it.
Well, I've got acid bath, Dope Fiend. I'm gonna play off of Kite String Pops.
Nice.
And to let everyone in the chat room and out there in listener land know, well, the listeners will know who this is, but we've got to change the wording up on this because the name of the band and the title of the song is all kind of screwy on the on here. I've got to change it because whenever it comes up, it's going to say some kind of Greek-looking stuff, but it's actually Necrotic Priapism out of New Orleans with their song Nun Scum.
Nice.
I'll tell you, if you get a chance, make sure the kids aren't around, but check out the video that they got for that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it's mind opening to say the least.
Cool.
But here we go. We're gonna have let's see, which track do I have first? I believe this is Walking Tall, and the one after that's gonna be Blood Rainbow. And Buffy plays bass on both of these, by the way.
Badass.
So here we go, guys, gals out there. Here's some Gutter Sludge, Acid Bath, and some Necrotic Priapism.
Right on.
Alrighty, metalheads, and we are back. Thank you for sticking around. This is the Bullshitting with Bob show right here on Brutiful Metal Radio, and we've been bullshitting with Jack and Scotty from Creepshow Mofo. Welcome back, guys.
Hello.
And during the break, we were talking about some experiences, that from New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it's a place where you'll experience all kind of stuff, man. It's a melting pot of cultures.
It's a magical place.
It is.
It is.
It's a very magical place.
It is.
Now, you were mentioning, you've taken haunted tours there before.
Yeah, oh yeah, the haunted history tours are the best, and I'm pretty sure that Kalila Smith still runs those, and they're just the very best. If you're ever going to go to the French Quarter, take every one of those tours that you can, because they're all badass.
I did it.
Yeah, Buffy's done it before.
And you're right, it is badass. Even the
They've
midnight
got the
one.
vampire one, they've got just the ghost story one, they've got the graveyard one. They've even got more stuff since the last time I've been down there, but it's incredible.
I know they've always done the Marie Laveau tour. They show Marie Laveau's house. They usually start there, and they'll end up, I think it's at St. Louis #1, where she's buried.
Yeah.
What's that
Now, is
one?
that tombstone not the coolest ever? I say tombstone, but the tomb.
Oh, the crypt?
With the X's and everything all over it, where people make wishes and whatnot.
Well, a lot dealing with voodoo, it's still very ingrained there in the culture. And
Oh, yeah.
before you enter St. Louis, you got to ask Marie Laveau's permission to go in. So you got to knock on the side 3 times before you go.
Yep.
And you go in, you give her a gift, even if it's just pocket change. You got to lay something at the crypt.
I left
And
a
it's-
cigarette.
And, yep, Buffy left a cigarette because tobacco's a big thing. Tobacco and rum.
Anything is actually acceptable. Anything that you can leave in her honor, for some kind of blessing, as they may say, will work there, man.
And yeah, if you ask for something, you leave 3 X's on there, and supposedly
You saw the big
it's supposed to happen.
tombstone that was in the Easy Rider scene right there too.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Oh yeah, it's badass.
Yeah, those cemeteries are fun to just go walk through.
They are great. It's almost more enjoyable to do it if you're not on the tour. You can just go venture through there, and it's much more intimate. Now, I mean, I do love the tour because it's fact filled, and it's very cool, and you should do it. But you should do the tour and then go back on your own and just venture around and photograph. It's pretty great.
Now, did you get a chance to do any of the swamp tours while you were down there?
I did do a swamp tour. That was also very cool, man. I did. I don't remember who I booked that through. That may have been something I did differently, but it was way cool, man. And it was also, they had some cool haunted history portions of the swamp tour with Native American headhunters and whatnot. It was pretty awesome.
Did you get to feed the alligators marshmallows?
No,
Uh,
I don't think that we actually fed the alligators. I think that it was, they did bring them right up close. Like, they swam right up to almost like a pontoon style boat
uh-huh.
that we went out on.
Almost too
And
close
they were,
for comfort.
they were babies to huge ones, just swam right up to the side of the boat.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I always get worried when the gators get kind of close. It's funny. My great grandmother was born on the bayou. Okay, she was born down in St. Martinville, right alongside Bayou Teche.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid growing up, she of course lived with us. She had sold her place, and we'd always go down there to visit our Cajun cousins and everything. And she'd try to tell me, go swim out in the bayou, And I'm like, they got gators out there. Well, she told me a story. She grew up there. I mean, that was her old family land. And she would swim, and the gators would get up close to her, and she'd pop them on the nose, and they'd leave her alone.
That's a badass right
And she'd
there.
always tell me, "Oh, Shad, just pop them on the nose, they leave you alone." I'm like, no.
I'm good on all that. I'm fine with not ever having to slap an alligator.
That's what I'm saying.
I think I'd just piss him off.
I think I'd be food because I'd be trying to swim away.
Yeah.
I don't know how those swamp people do it.
I guess it's different when you grow up with them, I mean, a lot of people, the area I'm from in Florida, we, Shark Week shows it all the time because we get people just slaughtered by sharks constantly. But it never ever crossed my mind, when you grow up there, you're like, oh yeah, well, they feed at dusk and at dawn. So preferably you don't go in the water at that particular time.
Yeah, that would be a
and
bad
you
thing.
learn little, you just grow up with that in your head, and you survive that way.
Now, we're going to ask you some off-the-wall questions, both of y'all.
All right.
Scotty, growing up, who was your favorite cartoon character?
Oh, shit. Favorite cartoon character growing up? Damn, man. Like that. I watched a lot of Looney Tunes growing up. I'd probably say, damn, man. That's too hard. That's too hard for me. Cartoon, man. Just pick a cartoon. I'd say I like the animated Beetlejuice cartoons. Those are pretty sick.
Right on. And how about you, Jack?
For me, it's Scooby-Doo all the way, man.
Yeah.
All the way. Love Scooby-Doo. Still love Scooby-Doo. Love it.
You know, growing up, it was always a kid of the 70s, man. I love my Looney Tunes. I love Bugs Bunny. He is the ultimate asshole ever.
He is a douchebag.
Isn't he?
He's probably a big inspiration for me for just being the asshole who dresses up like a chick and goes around and makes asses out of people.
Yeah, I saw Johnny Bravo just pop up on the chat. Johnny Bravo's badass. He's straight up inspiration. But also the Roadrunner. That was
yeah.
cartoon where he was just like, "Fuck you, man." What are you? It's always just detrimental, and it's brutal, man. Roadrunner was brutal.
Yeah, the Roadrunner didn't give a shit. He wasn't getting caught.
No, man.
So I could totally feel him there.
Oh, that Wile E. Coyote just always getting screwed, man.
Oh, dude, he was a glutton for punishment.
Always, and in the worst possible way. I think I saw some of the most brutal death scenes ever right there on. Oh, man. Those were hilarious.
Now, do you guys watch Metalocalypse at all?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Love Metalocalypse.
Dude.
As a band, we probably experienced a Metalocalypse moment about twice a day.
Which makes the show that much enjoyable. Just to be like, oh my God, that shit happens all the time.
That's awesome.
And, you know, you really can't mess with Death Clock, because the Death Clock album, or the Death Album 1 and 2, they're the highest grossing death metal act ever.
Oh, yeah.
Those two albums have outsold Cannibal Corpse plus every other death metal act ever, just with those two albums.
I didn't know that. Now, have you heard the Death Album 3 just came out? I haven't heard it yet.
I have not heard it yet, and I'm itching to.
I actually, I've got to get it, man. I've got to get it and check it out. But I just heard that it's out and, you know, ready for download or purchase, whatever, you know, you're going to do. But, yeah, that's an album that I'm pretty stoked to hear right away. Another album that I just got was the new Harp album, which is totally on a different subject, but it's also available and fucking sick.
Now, something else I wanted to bring up to you. If you have any bands, you know, that are looking for airplay or anything, turn us on to them, man.
Turn them on.
Oh, definitely, man. We need to get Nothing on here. Nothing are some of our best friends right here. Obviously, you got Tom that's tuned in, Tom from Blood Lubricant. But yeah, Nothing, Conception of Being, Thirst for Clarity. We got some, you know, Wendell is a prospect in the GMA. So we definitely got to get him on here for you guys. They've got a pretty sick new EP out. And so does Conception of Being. Nothing is working on getting their solid EP released. Circles in Autumn. Circles in Autumn has got a full length coming out that is, those guys are seriously, you know, just so badass. Black Hand Throne, we got to get you guys hooked up with to get you to interview them or do a review or whatnot, because they are seriously my favorite band in the world right this second.
Oh, right on. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Black Hand Lung, you said?
Black Hand Throne.
Throne.
Yep.
Okay, I will check those guys out.
Vixen's got some tracks. I sent her a lot of the stuff. Spine Extraction, Dixie Death Wish. The list goes on and on and on. Squirrel Grinder is from Charleston. They're sick. Halfway Down is another band that's coming out of Charleston. Tony, the GMA SC captain, he runs Battle Axe booking and promotions.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working with him a lot here lately. He's bringing a lot of Charleston bands out our way as part of the circuit, you know, and it's those guys are incredible.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that Vixen has Black Hand Throne, because I believe she also has some Nothing as well.
She probably does. I don't know. I sent her a lot of stuff the other day. I'm not sure if I sent her some Nothing tracks, but I can. But yeah, they're badass, and I think some of their stuff is available for free download or at least streaming on Reverb Nation?
I'm being directed to my email. I might have a present in there right now. About to find out.
I'm pretty sure you probably do, man. I sent Vixen some serious stuff, and she's got some incredible music that I sent to her not long ago. Black Hand Throne's one of them. They're just so badass. Spine Extraction just blows.
Oh, that's right. And I've got Tom in the chat room saying he sent some too.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, Tom has sent me quite a few things. I've still got to, download and get tagged up right where we can play them. A lot of stuff, and
Well,
I appreciate that, Tom.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I appreciate Tom, sending all that stuff. New music's always good, man.
We're good like that around here, man. We support each other. That's what I love about our scene so much. Is there's very little negative competition. Everybody is so supportive of each other. We show up to each other's shows, and it's badass. It's different from any other music scene that I've ever been a part of, and I'm real happy to be a part of this one. Soup from Splatter Magazine is constantly doing shows with me. He's a huge supporter around here. They're badass. And I think I saw that our bassist is in the chat room, Chris Yoons. I want to give a shout out to him while I have a moment. He couldn't be here tonight, but what's up, Chris?
Oh, hell yeah, bro. I mean, throw some more shout outs out if you want to.
We'll be here all night, dude.
Dude, it's free reign. I mean,
yeah. Well,
for real.
Let's off, Scotty. What you got?
Throw them out, buddy.
Out there, you guys need some tracks from Prowler. I'm going to give our other, Scotty and I have got another side project that we're working on right now called Worm Boy. And we're performing our first show ever as Worm Boy pretty soon, October 31st. And we were talking about being in cover bands earlier. Worm Boy, for this particular show, came about for just one show, actually. And we're doing all Marilyn Manson old school from their first albums. So as Halloween, we're going as Marilyn Manson, and we're dressing up for the band Worm Boy.
Oh, wow.
So it's got members, Scotty and I from Creepshow, Sean from Prowler and Circles and Autumn, and then Jerry from Decrepitant on drums.
Now, are y'all going to videotape this?
I hope so.
Because I would love to see a YouTube of that.
Yeah.
I would like to see it captured on tape too, man. It's going to be interesting. We've never done a show with all covers, and this just came about, as like a brainstorm idea.
We're going to have a blast.
So we're going to do it, man. We're going to have as much fun with it as we can.
You'll have a blast.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, whenever you get together and just have fun, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man. And we do that, for sure.
I dig the name Worm Boy.
Worm Boy, that's Scotty all the way. Scotty hit me with that.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. I want to throw some links up, if I can get Miss Vix to do it. Now, Creepshow Mofo, you guys have a Facebook page.
Yep, we sure do, and Reverb Nation as well.
Okay, I see them right there.
Just right click,
Buffy showing me more buttons to push.
copy shortcut, and then paste it in your text file.
All this technology stuff.
It'll get you, man.
There we go. I got the Facebook page up in there. Now, you said you had a Reverb Nation, and people can access that through your. Never mind, she just threw it up.
Thank you, Vixen. Sweet Pea.
I'll tell you.
We call Scotty Sweet Pea. It's a mode he goes into when he's super drunk right before puking. He gets into Sweet Pea mode, and he's just that. As a matter of fact, in Orlando, I saw a little something that said Sweet Pea, and I took a picture. I haven't sent it to you yet, but it's for you, buddy.
Now, Mofo Booking, you also have a Facebook page for that as well, correct?
Yes, sir, we sure do.
And I'm sure Dan will have that link. Oh, yes. she's got the fastest fingers on the planet, I swear. That's my sis, man. I love her to death. That girl is quick.
That's badass.
You know, sometimes I'll mention, you know, having to get a link, and all of a sudden, bam, it's there. It's like, I didn't even finish the sentence. She's really, really hard-working chick, man. She spends a lot of time, you know, doing promotion and running the radio, and, you know, Brutiful wouldn't be anywhere without Deanna.
That's badass, man. We love you guys out here. We just recently found your radio station through Tom, as a matter of fact, and it's awesome. Love you guys.
Oh, appreciate it, man. We sure do appreciate all the support.
Hell yeah.
Now, let's see. Oh, what are you looking for? You're looking for Mofo booking.
Mofo Metal Booking. If you type it in on Facebook, it should come right up below the Creepshow Mofo. But as far as the actual website, I don't know what the link is.
Vix will have it up there in just a second.
All right.
That's what she was asking me in the chat room. What am I looking for? Work, woman, work.
There it is.
Yep. Now, also the GMA, we want to bring that back up again. Georgia Metal Alliance.
That's right.
.com. If those of you metalheads out there listening in, if you feel like you want to be part of something that's growing, and honorable, and all about the metal, you think you can handle, you know, maybe wearing a patch one day?
Definitely. We'd love to have some patched in members, man. You guys are kicking ass down there. Now, is there an Alabama chapter that you guys are working with, or are you working with the mother chapter? I know that I set up Vixen with our South Carolina president. Is there currently an Alabama chapter?
There's no Alabama chapter at all. Not yet, anyway.
Okay.
But, we had Smoke come in here from the Illinois chapter one evening, and I was asking him questions. And he sent me over to talk to Nick.
Yeah, Nick Bloodstorm. He's our president, and you know he's the founder, president. He runs this, man.
He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's badass, man. Everybody I've met through the GMA has been awesome. Awesome.
Agreed.
I agree with you as well. Everybody's about, you know, talking and meeting with everybody, and, you know, support, and it's just awesome the amount of support I see within the group. You know, it really draws me in, the unity, and the everybody's got each other's back, and it's all about the same thing. Everybody has the same mission: push metal out.
What I like about it is the level of organization that I think is what separates it, you know, because it's the Georgia Metal Alliance, but it's international. And I think the reason that it attracts people internationally is the level of organization that's behind it. And Nick is badass like that.
I have to agree with you there as well. I was surprised to find out that, you know, the Georgia Metal Alliance is international.
That's right, man. We've got members from here to Greece to, you know, South America, all throughout the United States, England, everywhere, man. It's everywhere.
Man, it's like a disease infecting the planet with metal.
It spreads, man.
That's what's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap this up, is there anything you guys, you know, want to put out there? You want to definitely maybe put out your the shows you got coming up here soon?
The next ones, you know, Creepshow, we're actually working with a new drummer. So we're getting organized. The next show we have coming up is December 8th. All right, that's going to be at the Proximus Ball on December 8th. Your Chance to Die is set to headline that event. And that'll be our first show back with the new drummer, and we're gonna get back in the studio, wrap up this EP, start working towards the full length, and it's hopefully just gonna spread and grow from there, man.
Now, you know, you also had the GMA events coming up, and
yep. That is February 2nd in Myrtle Beach. and it's at the Sound Hall.
And anybody that has any information or want more information, you can hit Jack up at the Mofo booking, which had Vix already popped the link up there, or you can hit up GMA.
Yep, absolutely.
And
you'll find if you go on Facebook, you'll find chapters all over the place. Nick Bloodstorm is definitely the first person that I would try and chat with if you're interested. If there's not a state chapter for your local GMA, hit up Nick Bloodstorm on Facebook, and he is always glad to talk to anybody that's got the interest.
He is very accessible.
He is. He's very accessible. Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you guys would like to put up?
Oh, man. I think that's about it, man. I mean, right here, if anybody's listening, in Myrtle Beach, we've got Fox Fest coming up October 26th and 27th. It's going to be huge. November 3rd, Squirrel Grinder, Golgotha, TC Costello, and Conception of Being. But all these are available on the Mofo Metal Booking Facebook page. If you look under the events, you'll see about 1 million that pop up there. Check out the Myrtle Beach Metal Fest, and that should be a wealth of information for you guys to get started with any questions. You can hit me up on Facebook, Jack Flanders. I'll be happy to do whatever I can for you.
I also want to put out there too, usually I'll do a section or a segment of the interview where I take questions from the chat room. Anybody in the chat room have any questions? Sometimes we get a couple good ones out of it.
Don't be shy now. Bring it on.
They got a few second lag on us.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of a lag on us right here.
Somebody give us the most bizarre question you can think of.
Oh, here we go. Excessum. Travis.
Probably Halloween last year.
Last Halloween was incredible. That was strange.
I was on several types of hallucinogenics and drunk, and performed the show dressed in drag, fell off the stage, tackled Jack, and won first place in the sexy Halloween costume contest.
Single-handedly.
That is awesome.
That's the strangest show. How long until the new record is out, I see? That one, we would like to have, the full length is going to be a little bit, man. We've got a lot of recordings to do for that. We've got at least 40 minutes to lay down in the studio for songs to come out. But the EP should be out, ready for sale, mastered, and all that stuff. That'll be, probably the EP is going to be 3 songs. And that should be ready within the next 2 months for purchase.
Awesome. Now, whenever you guys do release that, let us know, because we'll push the hell out of it.
Awesome, man. That would be wonderful.
Oh, dude, that's what we do, Enlighten the world on metal, especially quality metal.
Badass.
So, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time out, to come and bullshit with me here on the show.
Dude, it's been a great time, man. One of the best interviews ever, I think.
Thank you very much for having us, man.
Epic.
And, you guys are part of the Brutiful family. Y'all are familiar.
All right.
If y'all got any news or anything that's happening y'all want to put out, man, hit us up. I'll bring you back on the show, and we'll do some more bullshit. And
hell yeah.
Anytime. Bullshitting with the old Bobster. Well, hang around just for a second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pop up some more tunes.
All right.
And I want to thank all my listeners that popped in here in the chat room. Got Chris, whoever Mooglykins is, Travis, DJ Smucklepants, of course, Tom, and Vix. And Rachel was in here for a while, and I'm not sure who Woogie Goo was, but, if you're still out there listening, thanks for listening in. I've got some more tunes coming up. Gonna burn some metal. Got Excessum right here. Travis, your guys, with Outcast. So stick around, fuckers. More metal.